My personality is shaped from an emotionally abusive mother. She is still alive and still doing this, even though I don't live with her. It is because of this that I am fearful of people. I need to find resources to help me with this. Usually such services only help people who come from sexual abuse and domestic violence. When it is only lifelong emotional abuse from a parent, there is nothing out there. The mental health services are useless because those services aren't very helpful of people who are a victim of someone with a mental illness. I am in an unsafe home. The unsafe factor is the landlord. I want to find housing assistance that helps people to purchase their own house. I can't get admitted into college and be allowed to earn a bachelor's degree. I am capable of doing it. The only reason I can't go to college is because of not being allowed to. It is discrimination. When it is just emotional abuse without the physical or sexual, a lot of people are incapable of taking me seriously. It is very hard to find resources that are equipped to help me. The typical abuse services only help people who came from any sort of physical abuse situation. There are psychological effects that have arisen from having this happen to me. The typical mental health services will gravitate to diagnosing me with a mental disorder and having me see a psychiatrist that just wants to prescribe me medication. They aren't aware or care about or take seriously how non-physical emotional abuse can affect someone. What services exist that is capable of addressing the exact help I need by not diagnosing me with a mental disorder and try to medicate me, and will recognize the emotional abuse as the real source of my mental state? I don't think I was born with a developmental disability. As I got older, I would show more and more signs of having a developmental disability. The symptoms of a developmental disability that have manifested are concrete proof of the damage resulting from lifelong emotional and psychological abuse from my mother. It is immediately obvious to people that I am very different. Instead of people understanding why I am different, my unusual mannerisms trigger people to abuse me more. I am being harassed by a landlord who wants to evict me. There is no place on this planet where I can be safe. I have to have my own home if I am going to get any peace. My father is deceased. I am supposed to have a trust fund. My mother is controlling it completely without my consent. It is impossible for me to pursue goals of going to college and working if I am under a tremendous amount of stress worrying about the stability of my home when I am living on the property that a landlord owns. I am showing the effects of PTSD as a result of a lifetime of abuse from my mother. She is not formally diagnosed, but I think she has all of the criteria of a sociopath. My mother just wants me to use the trust fund for the basic essentials. My mother considers renting a bare essential, and that owning is too much of a luxury. When the problems with renting get bad enough when I have an abusive landlord that wants to evict me, owning then becomes an essential necessity. Even though I do not live with my mother, when she perpetuates this situation, it is exactly like I am living with her and exposed to her abuse every day. I try to stay away from her and not talk to her. But as much as I try to stay away from her, some bizarre emergency pops up and I have to draw from the trust fund, which requires going through her. So much Twilight Zone shit happens to me all of the time that I am convinced that my mother is demonically possessed. I have to take legal action to remove her from controlling the trust fund so I will be able to get her out of my life once and for all. Then I can solve my living situation by purchasing a home, and then I will be able to put my time and energy into the goal of progressing and figuring out how to support myself.